Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna.
To the Prabhupada Disciples Association membership and the Hare Krishna Society programs, which are being propagated online in an effort to preserve Prabhupada's legacy in his original books, letters, and lectures. And we encourage all of our members to have a weekly diet of hearing and chanting the Hare Krishna mantra 16 rounds a day, and at the same time to also constantly, when possible, hear Prabhupada's teachings through his lectures and reading his books. Very valuable for our own spiritual advancement, because there are so many different opinions these days about this point of view and that point of view. And this is common, especially in the Vaishnava circles that we have all been a part of for many years. And everybody has an opinion. Of course, everyone's entitled to an opinion. That's their right, just like everyone has independent free will to do this or that. Independent free will is there to choose use of intelligence. But it is very important to know what is right and what is wrong. This is the difference between people who have capacity to understand truth and those that don't, for a variety of reasons. Prabhupada was discussing this in a lecture, and I mentioned it recently, that people were glorifying him, saying, "Oh, you've created all these miracles." Of course, they were referring to the dancing white elephants, which was a phenomena, especially for his godbrothers when he saw all of us in the early days, Yashodanandana Prabhu, when we showed up in Mayapur, and there were hundreds and hundreds of Western European devotees dancing enthusiastically and worshiping Srila Prabhupada and glorifying the holy names of Krishna as he had taught us. So Prabhupada said, well, that was a miracle. But at the same time, I do not know any miracles. All I know is that I simply presented the philosophy of my Guru Maharaj without change. Without change, which was common in the Gaudiya Math. After Bhaktisiddhanta's disappearance, all the godbrothers of Prabhupada were scrambling to get assets, get buildings, and get bank accounts, and gain disciples. So, what else is new? Gaudiya Math Part 2. That's what happened after Prabhupada's departure in November 1977. It was very unfortunate. And we had firsthand experience of that. It was actually quite discouraging and disappointing to see so many American disciples creating this chaos amongst a community of devotees that basically understood how to work together. I know in Canada, Yashodanandana Prabhu, we had a very good relationship between the temple presidents here, Bahudak in Vancouver, and there was Nandi Keshwar in Montreal, and there was a devotee, Amsu, at one time, and then Lakshminath in Ottawa, and then myself in Toronto. So we have 4 of us, and we were transferring devotees to each other's temples, sharing festivals. Nandi used to come from Montreal on Saturdays. Yonge Street used to be a very prominent thoroughfare in Canada. So on Saturdays, not like nowadays where everybody's afraid to go downtown, they might get murdered. Back then, we would go on the streets, and people would go there just as a matter of a tourist spot to go to Yonge Street, walk up and down Yonge Street. There was tens of thousands of people, and Nandi used to drive all the way from Montreal with a couple of vans of devotees, and we would have a big Harinam Sankirtan. He'd come on Friday, we'd go out all day Saturday, and we'd chant all day, up and down. So there'd be like 30, 40 devotees going one way down Yonge Street, and another 30 or 40 coming up the other way. So we were totally dominating the sound vibration of Yonge Street with the holy names of Krishna. And then in the evening, we'd go back to the temple on Gerrard Street. We'd have a huge kirtan, very huge kirtan, all dancing and chanting, not the sit-down Sahajiya rock-style kirtans that they run now. It was a very different mood, very different approach to Harinam, and not according to Lord Chaitanya's directions. If you read Caitanya-caritāmṛta, and we'll learn that there were 16 people in the kirtan party. There was so many cartels, 4 mridungas, dancers, all organized by Lord Chaitanya in a systematic way. Not sit down kirtan for hours with your eyes closed. It wasn't like that at all. It was much different. So Prabhupada said, he was saying on the lecture, he said, the miracle that I have is I haven't changed anything from the teachings of Bhaktisiddhanta. And that is the miracle that we at the Prabhupada Disciples Association and the Hare Krishna Society are endeavoring to follow Krishna Katha. Follow in the footsteps. Think about it. You look at a footstep, Prabhu, Dasa Avatar. You look at you look at a footprint. It's specific, isn't it? It's a specific footprint. Actually, they find criminals using footprints. Hey, Krishna Katha, they take the footprint of the perpetrator, they take the imprint, they copy the imprint of the person's shoe to his shoe. If it's identical, they've identified him. You were at the scene. You're caught. We got you. We got the evidence. So this precision placement of our foot in the footstep of our spiritual master means don't change anything. Not one word. There's opinion nowadays. Like some people there was that new set of Bhagavatams that came out. I'll finish up here. The 9-volume set. And I was having a talk with our godbrother in Hawaii, Jonas Priya, and he was saying, well, these are really nice books. I said, but they're changed. He goes, what do you mean? Well, Jayadvaita changed them. Where is the value, Prabhupada said, in a person that's a third-class individual that changes the original text of the pure devotee? Where is there is no potency in it, zero. Someone asked me, what do you want to do with the books that you've got from the other group? I go, well, I'm going to burn them in the backyard. I cut the pictures out, I'm going to burn them. Well, what's the value? Change books have no value. So that's the opening monologue for all of us this evening. And we're so glad that you're with us. So thank you very much, everyone. And we're going to move forward and enjoy a little bit of pastimes from the pure devotee in his diaries. And see, look, there we have the beautiful book, The Beginnings. I don't want to get the, there we are. Yeah. And I also have the Jaladuta diary here, a copy of it. Maybe Krishna Kata, maybe someday we can publish these by chance, if we ever get going. See that? Look at how fantastic they are. So there's lots of opportunity. Yeah, there's lots of opportunity for us to think of ways and means that we can spread the Sankirtan movement with our own efforts as a collective team. Teamwork is a very powerful part of spreading Krishna consciousness. And Prabhupada knew how to do that perfectly. And we also want to follow in the footsteps of Srila Prabhupada and do exactly the same thing. It's not easy. It's actually quite difficult work in a certain way. Hey, Yashoda? You know, its own way. It has its austerities, but we'll march on. Okay, this is Saturday, June 18th, 1966. Amazing, eh? We're in 2024. Wow. So here we have it. Sunrise was 4:31 a.m. Sunset was 7:32 p.m. Moon's rise and sets. Pratipad. Today, Paul was paid $1 for expenditures. The Sanskrit class was poorly attended by 2 only, and the contribution was $2. I believe Yashoda, he dropped that after a while. He just dropped the Sanskrit because it, judge an action by its results. 2 only, the contribution was $2. The book collection was $2. It was $4 and there was a $1 expenditure. So Prabhupada netted $3. 1 letter received from Vrindavan and another letter received from Tirtha Maharaj. Vrindavan's letter replied and posted by Don. Mr. Paul Murray prepared his daily routine work. Let me see how does he follow it. He is a problem for me. Let Krishna help him to become good behaved. So, for further description of Don, see Srila Prabhupada. So-called biography. Sunday, June 19th, sunrise 4:31 a.m., sunset 7:32 p.m., moonrise 9:48 a.m., Dvicha. Paul is paid $1 for expenditure. In June 20th, 1966, sunrise was 4:31 a.m., sunset 7:32 p.m., moonset 9:48 p.m. Tritya. Today I paid for purchase stationery. Deposit in the bank $20. So if there was meeting, 16 persons attended and the contribution was only $9. Book collection was $1.25, so $10.25. One artist has drawn a picture of Sri Radha Krishna. So I've hung it over the present Lord Chaitanya's picture. It's looking nice. 1 letter received from Mangal, Illinois. Post office man has called on Thursday for post boxes. The expenditure was $23.11 and income was $10.25. So negative. Not fun when it's negative, eh? You never have a smile when you're in debt. It's never fun. Here we have this letter. I'm going to read it from Mangalanoi Brahmachari. So, from Assam, India. Oh, Assam, yes. With innumerable humble prostrations to thy lotus feet, Pujapad Maharaj, your affectionate letter of the 11th of June, I'm glad to note that I will be in your midst by the end of July this year. Yes, I will try for one who can play on mridanga well. The man who is well intimated to me for this purpose is my godbrother in the ascetic order. The difficulty is he does not know English at all. If that will suit you, I shall request him. The articles mentioned in your letter, like mridanga, cartels, etc., I shall buy them, in due course. The Assam Indi Charter will cost at least 110 rupees per pair. Here is in Shillong. The climate is very soothing to our health. We are preaching here very enthusiastically amongst Bengalis, Assamese, Marwaris, Mr. B.P. Chailika, and the Chief Minister of Assam also invited us to have a discourse on Srimad Bhagavatam and Sankirtan there in his bungalow on June 19th, 66. We may be here up to June 25th of June, or June 66. Of course, if your letter comes earlier, summoning me to your place, I shall prepare myself earlier. While regarding my dress, what attempts should I make? Kindly instruct me in detail regarding my preparatory arrangements for the foreign trip. I think you need not be worried about your publication work. Let me first join you and work together, and the interest that will be created will smoothen over all activities. We shall take care of everything. So he's quite confident that he'll be able to assist Prabhupada. Now, I do not like to disturb Srila Guru Maharaj in any way, then my journey may be stopped. So I'd like to be there first, and afterwards, automatically, all kinds of correspondence and negotiations will be made with him, and gradually everything will be arranged very smoothly and calmly. I believe Guru Maharaj, out of his affection for us, will do everything for our interest in abroad. We are quite okay here, hoping you are in good health and spirits. My Dandabat pranams to your lotus feet again and again. Please convey my compliments to Mr. Paul, sure, and all other followers there attending your discourses. Early reply is requested. Yours affectionately yours, Mangalanoi Brahmachari. So, some insight from him based on Prabhupada's desire to bring him. I don't believe Yashodanandana it ever happened. I don't think he made it. So, on Prabhupada marched despite the difficulty. All glories to the Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the transcendental adventures of A.C. Bhaktivedanta, spreading it throughout the world. Let's move forward with the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava, and then our wonderful Caitanya-caritāmṛta reading this evening and discussion, led by Yashodanandana Prabhu and all the Prabhupada disciples that are joined with us in the Zoom discourses. Hari Hari Bo.
Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Yashodanandana Bradajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Bradajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Bradajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Bradajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Amasvat Paramahansa Paribhrajagacharya Suttareshwara Samadhati Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Bhagavad Ki Jai Ananta Kodi Vaishnava Ki Jai Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Bhog Gopinath Sam Khand Radha Khand Giridhar Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai की जाए जमुना माई की जाए गुरु द्वारका धाम की जाए स्वामी तो भक्तबिंद की जाए और ग्लोरी टू देयर सिमर और ग्लोरी टू देयर सिमर थैंक यू वेरी मच
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Srimad Bhagavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskritya Narayanam namaskritya Naram cheva narottamam Naram cheva narottamam Devim saraswatim vyasam Devim saraswatim vyasam Tato jayam mudirayat Tato jayam mudirayat. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam or Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta, after offering respectful obeisances, 1, to the personality of Godhead, Narayana, 2, to the Nara-Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4 to Srila Vyasadeva, the author, from Srimad Bhagavatam 1 to 4. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta. As we do every week, we will be reading a few select verses from the Adi Lila, chapter 1, from text 18 to 22, which describes and summarizes the benefits and the transcendental potency of this great literature. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityanandam Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrindam. Glory to Sri Chaitanya and Nityananda. Glory to Advaita Chandra, and glory to all the devotees of Sri Gaura, Lord Chaitanya. Text 19. 18 Thakur Gaudiya ke karye chano yatmasat. 18 Charana Vandan Tere Morenat. These three deities of Vrindavana, Madan Mohan, Govinda, and Gopinatha, have absorbed the heart and soul of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, followers of Lord Chaitanya. I worship their lotus feet, for they are the lords of my heart. Text 20. Grante Rambi Kori Mangala Charana Guru Vaishnav Bhagavan Tinera Smarana. In the beginning of this narration, simply by remembering the spiritual master, the devotees of the Lord, and the personality of Godhead, I've invoked their benedictions. Text 21. Tinera Smarane Ai Vigna Vinashana Anayaseoi Nijavanchita Purana. Such remembrance destroys all difficulties and very easily enables one to fulfill his own desires. Text 22. Se mangala charanoi trivida prakar vastu nirdesha shirvada namaskara. The invocation involved three processes: defining the objective, offering benedictions, and offering obeisances. Today we'll be reading from the Adi Lila, chapter 4, I believe we're on text 202, 211. Okay, 211. All synonyms, translations, and purports by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. Sahaya Guru Baha Shishya Bujishya Bandavaha Striyaha Satyam Vadami Te Partha Gopyaha Kim Me Bhavantina. Sahayaha, helpers. Guru Baha, teachers. Shishyaha, students. Bujishyaha, servants. Bandava, friends. Striyaha, wives. Satyam, truthfully. Vadami, I say. Te, unto you. Partha, O Arjuna. Gopyaha, the gopis. Kim, what? Me, for me. Bhavanti, are. Na, not. Translation. O Partha, I speak to you the truth. The gopis are my helpers, teachers, disciples, servants, friends, and consorts. I do not know what they are not to me. Purport. This is a verse from the Gopi Premamrita. Text 212. Gopi Janena Krishner Maniro Vanchitam Prema Seva Paripati Ishta Samihitam Gopika, the gopis, Janena, no, Krishnera, of Lord Krishna, Manera, of the mind, Vanchita, the desired object, Prema Seva, of service in love, Paripati, perfections, Ishta Samihita, achievement of the desired goal of life. Translation. The gopis know Krishna's desires, and they know how to render perfect, loving service for his enjoyment. They perform their service expertly for the satisfaction of their beloved. Text 213. Man mahatmyam matsaparyam matshraddham manmanogatam jananti gopikaha parta nanye jananti tattvataha. Man mahatmyam, my greatness, matsaparyam, my service, matshraddham, respect for me, matmanaha gatam, the intention of my mind, jananti, they know, gopikaha, the gopis, parta, O Arjuna, na, not, anye, others, jananti, no, tattvataha, factually. Translation. O Partha, the gopis know my greatness, my loving service, respect for me, and my mentality. Others cannot really know these. Purport. This verse was spoken by Lord Krishna to Arjuna in the Adi Purana. Text 214. Se gopi gana madhya uttamaradika rupe gune sobhagye preme sarvadika. Say those gopi gana, the gopis, madhye, among, uttama, the highest, radhika, Srimati Radharani, rupe, in beauty, gune, in qualities, saubhagye, in good fortune, preme, in love, sarva adhika, above all. Translation. Among the gopis, Srimati Radharani is the foremost. She surpasses all in beauty, in good qualities, in good fortune, and above all, in love. Purport. Amongst all the gopis, Srimati Radharani is the most exalted. She's the most beautiful, the most qualified, and above all, the greatest lover of Krishna. Text 215. Yatarada priya vishnos tasyaha kundam priyam tatam sarva gopikshu seveka vishnoratyanta vallabha yata, just as Radha, Srimati Radharani, Priya, very dear, Vishnu, to Lord Krishna, Tasyaha, her, Kundam, bathing place, Priyam, very dear, Tata, so also, Sarva Gopishu, among all the gopis, Sa, she, Eva, certainly, Eka, alone, Vishnu, of Lord Krishna, Atyanta Vallabha, most dear. Translation. Just as Radha is dear to Lord Krishna, so her bathing place, Radha Kunda, is dear to him. She alone is his most beloved of all the gopis. Purport. This verse is from the Padma Purana. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin iti namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhakti Vedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Bhagavad Vandanam Kadhyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadatehi Visheshataha Adadana Strinam Danter Idham Yachi Punaha Punaha Srimad Rupa Padam Bhoja Dhulishyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavatosmyaham Sadadasu Asmi Sarvatam Tat Kripa Pikshako Nityam Tat Prishta Sat Karomishvam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. In this particular section of Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta, Krishnadas Kaviraj is presenting the exalted position of Srimati Radharani. It's important to note that of the 5 Vaishnava Sampradayas, namely the 2 South Indian Sampradayas, the Sri Vaishnava Ramanuja Sampradaya, the Dvaita, the Madhvacharya Sampradaya, in North India, the Nimbarka and the Vallabhas, and our Sampradaya, the Gaudiya Sampradaya, 3 of them accept the position of Krishna with the gopis. The other 2, the South Indian Sampradayas, not so much. Some of them openly have criticized that Radharani is not mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Well, we don't want to criticize these people, but she is mentioned in the Bhagavatam. Even though it is an indirect mention, when Lord Krishna was performing the Rasa Leela, at one point one Gopika left the Rasa dance. That Gopi was Srimati Radharani. And there's a verse in the Bhagavatam, Anayaradito nudam Bhagavan Haririshwaraha. And our Srila Prabhupada and all of our great acharyas have commented on this, that this particular Gopi was Radharani. It is confirmed by the Sanskrit word Anayaradito. So it's important because we see here in the text of Caitanya-caritāmṛta that Krishnadas Kaviraj is quoting from the Padma Purana. And this particular text, Yatarada Priya Vaishnavas, is also quoted by Srila Prabhupada in the Nectar of Instruction. It's also quoted by Rupa Goswami in his Lagu Bhagavatamrita, where he describes all the avatars and the position of Radha and Krishna. So it is not that Gaudiya Vaishnavas have invented some deity. And it doesn't matter when the first Radharani deity was installed and worshipped. That is not the point. The point is that it is authorized. It is mentioned in the authorized shastras such as the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Padma Purana, the Adi Purana, the Brahma Vaivarta Purana, and numerous other Vedic literatures. So this is a very important point. I've told a few times a story that when I was in Vrindavan in 1977, during the month of May, I had the opportunity to spend a few hours with Srila Prabhupada every night, massaging his feet and attending to him. And one night, just before the sun was going down, Prabhupada looked at me and says, "You hear this sound?" I said, "Prabhupada, what sound?" "Prabhupada, the sound, the peacocks, the cuckoos, all the animals, everybody. Can you hear?" "Oh, yes, Prabhupada." And Prabhupada said, "This place is the highest place in the universe, this Vrindavan." So I pointed out to Prabhupada that in your books you mentioned that Mayapur and Navadvip is the highest place in the universe, according to Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Prabhupada said, "Yes, that is definitely a special place, but in this place, Krishna and Balaram plays in this area, and the Radharani and the gopis came there." So then, with Prabhupada's permission, I quoted a verse which happened to be that next verse there on text 216, Trailoke Pritividanya Yatra Vrindavanam Bhuvi, Tatrapi Gopikaha Parta Yatra Radha Bidam Mama. O Partha, in all the three planetary systems, this earth is especially fortunate, for on earth is the town of Vrindavana. And there the gopis are especially glorious, because among them is my Srimati Radharani. Prabhupada explains in the purport, this verse spoken by Lord Krishna to Arjuna is cited from the Adi Purana. So it's quite significant how Srila Prabhupada explains all of this. Although today is the appearance day of Sri Ramachandra Bhagavan, we're observing according to the Mayapur calendar. Many people here in America observed it yesterday according to a different calendar. But the point is that all of these different incarnations are all coming from Krishna. We see in the Brahma Samhita, it is explained, Ramadi Murtishu Kalanyamena Tishtan Nanavataram Akarat Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhavat Paramah Pumanyo Govindamari Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. That all of these different incarnations are all coming from the personality of Krishna, who is the original personality. So we celebrate the divine appearance day of Ramachandra, very special day, very, very important day. This is one of the Mahautsav or Mahotsavas during the year, along with Gaur Purnima, Narasimha Chaturdasi, Krishna Janmastami. These are very, very important days to grow the seed of devotional service. Very important, because we see that certain persons try to inform us that their position in Krishna consciousness is due to some managerial position. They interpret Prabhupada's statement that the GBC of the society was the ultimate managerial authority, and they somehow concoct that this means that they're the ultimate authority. No, that is not the language that Prabhupada used. Prabhupada used the word managerial authority. And managerial authority doesn't mean that one concocts and manufactures different interpretations that are not in line with Srila Prabhupada's teachings. And this is very important. Just like earlier in the discussion, Vishwakarma Prabhu was making an explanation that sometimes detectives will use the footprints of somebody to try to see if it matches to the exact footprint of their shoe. Because investigators will use different techniques to find out different questions, to find out if the suspects or persons of interest is really the person they're looking for. There's numerous techniques. So everyone who's seeking for Krishna, the actual techniques, the actual standard has been established already by the Acharya. There's no need for anybody to manufacture or concoct some interpretation or interpretations plural. We touched upon that last week, where we were discussing how certain devotees were mentioning that you alluded to Brahma, Shiva, Dhruva, and other personalities in your discussion last week, and how certain devotees, leading devotees in the movement, misunderstood and misrepresented their position. Well, this is very important because we see that Srila Prabhupada is giving so many instructions in his books. He is giving so many clarifications in his books. It's not that there's lack of knowledge. It is not that there's lack of information. Everything has been given there. The point is, we have to develop the taste and the patience to go through all of these statements and understand them in their proper perspective. There's a little booklet that was compiled in 1993. The original outline was compiled earlier in 1982 by Puranjan Prabhu. And he was discussing in this booklet, along with a devotee named Jagjivan. Jagjivan is no longer, but he was a very good editor and writer. For some time, he was editing for the Back to Godhead magazine. But we see that the leading devotees in the movement, in trying to explain different devotees who experience certain material conditioning, certain defects in their behavior. Prabhupada says in the Srimad Bhagavatam in Canto 5, Chapter 14, Text 26, this on page number 12 of the booklet Our Living Guru, unless one can find a person transcendental to the four basic defects, one should not accept advice and become a victim of material condition. The best process is to take advice and instructions of Sri Krishna or his bona fide representatives. In this way, one can become happy in this life and the next. Also, we see in a Nectar of Devotion on page 79, Prabhupada says, a conditioned soul cannot deliver another conditioned soul. Only Krishna or his bona fide representative can deliver him. Because what we saw at that point in time is certain devotees trying to interpret the fall down or deviations or concoctions or inappropriate behavior of some devotees who were posing as Prabhupada's successors, so-called appointed successors. But yet, these devotees were exhibiting symptoms of material conditioning. So what they did in a report in August 1980 is find fault with the Mahajan. Here's an exact quote from their report. Even Bhishmadev, who was one of the great Mahajans or authorities in understanding Krishna consciousness, was affected by his materialistic association of women and money. If even Bhishmadev can be affected by materialistic association, then what to speak of ourselves? But yet we find that Srila Prabhupada in Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 1, Chapter 9, Text 34, Canto 1, Chapter 9, Text 34 speaks and explains Sri Bhishma Deva is a great devotee of the Lord in the relation of servitorship and eternally pure relationship with God. As a Mahajan or authority, he was on a level of Brahma, Narada, and Shiva. Although he was a human being, qualification on par with the great demigods is possible only by attainment of spiritual perfection. The 1980 GBC report continues. Oh, there are examples in the Srimad Bhagavatam of great devotees having difficulties. Lord Brahma was affected by sex attraction for his daughter. This even gets better. But Srila Prabhupada establishes Lord Brahma's liberated and pure status. Quote, this extraordinary immorality on the part of Lord Brahma was heard to have occurred in some particular kalpa, epoch, but it could not have happened in the kalpa in which Brahma heard directly from the Lord the 4 essential verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, because the Lord benedicted Brahma after giving him lessons on the Bhagavatam, that he would never be bewildered in any kalpa whatsoever. This indicates that before the hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam, he might have fallen victim to such sensuality. But after hearing Srimad Bhagavatam directly from the Lord, there was no possibility of such failures. Very important point. Prabhupada wrote in a letter to Himavati Devi Dasi on March 23rd, 1969. There are many other stories also, but such apparent falling is without any influence to very, very advanced devotees. A neophyte should always be careful. One should not discuss about such great devotees' apparent fall down. Just like one should not discuss about the sun who evaporates urine from the earth. It is possible for the sun to do it and still remains the sun. But for ordinary man, if he lives in a filthy place, he will be infected. So Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma, they are highly elevated devotees, and we should not try to criticize about their behavior, even though it appears against the rule. So this is quite significant because we see that the mistaken or misguided criticism of these great personalities, they also criticized Dhruva Maharaj. The GBC said, Dhruva Maharaj became overwhelmed by anger at the Yakshas for killing his brother. Now let's compare that to Prabhupada's statement in the 4th canto of the Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 11, Text 13. Canto 4, Chapter 11, Text 13. Dhruva Maharaj was a liberated soul, and actually he was not angry with anyone. But because he was a ruler, it was his duty to become angry for some time in order to keep the law and order of the state. So this is a very important point, because we see that these people misunderstand the Shastras. They compare themselves or their misguided activities to the exalted Mahajans, but they neglect to see and properly study Srila Prabhupada's instructions and warnings in his books. Now, this is very significant. Why is it significant? Because Srila Prabhupada says in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 4, Text number 1, that no one should be willing to hear someone who does not represent the original Acharya. The original Acharya in this movement is His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And anybody who speaks the kind of nonsense just like we've heard, no matter what their so-called managerial authority claims to be, no one should listen to them, as per Srila Prabhupada's instruction, to whom it may concern. Hare Krishna.
On the basis of interpretation by a few for their justification of a compromised position that they find themselves in. It's like a group of thieves. You know that thieves have honor. There's honor amongst thieves, even in the motorcycle gangs, like the Hells Angels. They have a code of honor. And if you break it, there's a serious reaction for that. So in the same way, there is a code of honor amongst these thieves. And we know in the case of our god brother Caitanya-caritāmṛta that when, yes, Prabhu, that when Rameshwar wanted to relinquish his position as initiating guru and take the role as a Ritvik guru, a Ritvik, not guru, but Ritvik representative, excuse me, then Tamal Krishna came to LA and put on a lot of pressure and told him, if you don't conform to this guru system that we've set up, we're going to kick you out of the movement. And this was the situation back then. I will get Caitanya-caritāmṛta to speak on that because he had personal experience. But the fact of the matter is, when you have a lie, in order to maintain the lie, you have to keep lying. Lies are, one lie builds another lie, builds another lie. And in this way, the whole thing becomes a fraud. And eventually, it will collapse because it's a house of cards. It won't work. So like that, currently, many people are becoming aware. Many people. In fact, we're getting weekly contacts from devotees around the world appreciating the classes that we're presenting online on the Hare Krishna YouTube channel. We have over 300 classes now. And we continue to present the reality of this mission and the protection of Prabhupada's legacy for everyone's benefit. That's the goal. Because a devotee is compassionate. A devotee is kind. But a devotee will not tolerate the blasphemy and the misrepresentation of the truth in regards to their spiritual master. Will not tolerate it. And that's when we stand up as people. We cannot sit back. There's a saying, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. Now, someone's going to say, well, that's really harsh. I know I get a lot of people attacking me on one of our mediums, our Prabhupada Disciples group, where people put up posts, oh, you're this and that, and you're offensive to devotees and to great souls. Well, it's not one person speaking about this. Not everybody is presenting it publicly, but thousands of people are aware of what has gone on in the name of so-called disciplic succession, which is a fraud. And we all know that. If you don't speak up, if you're not part of the solution, if you want to sit back passively and say, oh, that's okay, they're chanting, they've got deities, they're eating prasadam, they're opening hospitals, they're doing food distribution, they're following certain rules and regulations. They're not that bad. This is a science. It's like the surgeon. The surgeon, you don't go, well, he kind of knows what he's doing. No, you don't kind of know how to operate on a patient to cure them of cancer. You know or you don't know. And if you don't do the right thing, the patient will die. This is a strict science. And we're following that science to the best way possible that we can. And we do appreciate everybody's possibilities or participation and the potential that they bring to our group to assist us in this great, how can I say, mountain of activity. Is it possible to put up the verses, Vinkat, or no, do you have to go? He has to leave. I was going to read a section, I still will, just quickly, from Anchalila about Lord Krishna, acting as Lord Chaitanya. And this is the most, how can I say, advanced literature in the universe. To hear the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya in relation to Lord Krishna and Radharani, how he's feeling it. And in this particular case, he is discussing his ecstatic symptoms that he is experiencing at the end of the Caitanya-caritāmṛta. He's expressing them in these verses, the relationship between Radha and Krishna. So just as Srimati Radharani inquired from her personal friend Vishaka, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, reading that very verse, began speaking like a madman. Translation: my dear friend, this is Lord Chaitanya, where is Krishna in the mood of Radharani, who is like the moon rising from the ocean of Maharaj Nanda's dynasty? Where is Krishna, his head decorated with a peacock feather? Where is he? Where is Krishna, whose flute produces such a deep sound? Oh, where is Krishna, whose bodily luster is like the luster of the blue Indranila jewel? Where is Krishna, who is so expert in rasa dancing? Oh, where is he who can save my life? Kindly tell me where to find Krishna, the treasure of my life and best of my friends. Feeling separation from him, I hereby condemn Providence, the shaper of my destiny. Text 36. The family of Maharaj Nanda is just like an ocean of milk, wherein Lord Krishna has arisen like the full moon to illuminate the entire universe. The eyes of the residents of Braja are like chakora birds that continuously drink the nectar of his body luster and thus live peacefully. My dear friend, where is Krishna? Lord Chaitanya is pleading. Kindly let me see him. My heart breaks at not seeing his face even for a moment. Kindly show him to me immediately. Otherwise, I cannot live. The women of Vrindavan are just like lilies growing hot in the sun of lusty desires. But moonlight Krishna makes them all jubilant by bestowing upon them the nectar of his hands. My dear friend, where is my moon now? Save my life by showing him to me. My dear friend, where is that beautiful helmet with a peacock feather upon it like a rainbow upon a new cloud? Where are those yellow garments shining like lightning? And where is that necklace of pearls that resemble flocks of ducks flying in the sky? The blackish body of Krishna triumphs over the new blackish rain cloud. If a person's eyes even once capture the beautiful body of Krishna, it remains always prominent within his heart. Krishna's body resembles the sap of the mango tree, for where it enters the minds of a woman, it will not come out despite great endeavor. Thus, Krishna's extraordinary body is like a thorn of the saya berry tree. Krishna's bodily luster shines like the Indra Nila gem and surpasses the luster of the Tamala tree. So Lord Chaitanya speaking here, everyone. The lust as Radharani. The luster of his body drives the entire world mad, because providence has made it transparent by refining the essence of the mellow of conjugal love and mixing it with moonshine. Just ending up, the deep vibration of Krishna's flute surpasses the thundering of new clouds and attracts the oral reception of the entire world. Thus the inhabitants of Vrindavan rise and pursue that sound, drinking the showering nectar of Krishna's bodily luster like thirsty Chataka birds. Providence, you do not know the purport of loving affairs, and therefore you baffle all our endeavors. This is very childish of you. If we could catch we would give you such a lesson that you would never again make such arrangements. All glories to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Let's have a comment from Yashodanandana, please.
Okay, here we go. I just want to quote from Caitanya-caritāmṛta to dispel the misconception that is spread by persons with a poor fund of knowledge who claim that sometimes spiritual masters make mistakes. This is from Antya-lila of Caitanya-caritāmṛta, chapter 5, text 71. Antya-lila, chapter 5, text 71. The Guru speaks as Krishna dictates from within. Thus, it is not that he is personally speaking. When a pure devotee or a spiritual master speaks, what he says should be accepted as having been directly spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the Parampara system. There is a similar comment in the Caitanya-caritāmṛta, Madhya-lila, chapter 8, text 200. Madhya-lila, chapter 8, text 200. When a pure devotee speaks, he speaks perfectly. How is this? His speech is managed by Krishna himself within the heart. We'll open it up for discussion to more elevated Vaishnavas than my poor self.
Let's move ahead with Dharma. Krishna Kata, go ahead, please. Yeah, I did call on you earlier. Just go ahead, please. Microphone. Push the...
I was raising my hand because of what Yashoda just said at the end. I don't have to say much, except, honestly, this verse, the verses that we read today in the Caitanya-caritāmṛta are very elevated. And it is only by the mercy of our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, we can even begin to grasp even the slightest realization into the intimate pastimes of Krishna and the gopis and Lord Chaitanya. But then you nicely moved into how we currently are in a situation where it's a dire situation of Srila Prabhupada's pure movement. Pure ISKCON is currently being led by motivated so-called leaders. And I picked up on a couple things that Yashoda said. So I opened up, and first of all, I don't recommend anybody read the GBC law book. It's very hard to read. because I was in the corporate world for my whole career. And I know that there is a bottomless pit, an endless archive of laws in every state, in every country. And now the very thing that Prabhupada did not want is now a 118, currently 118 page concoction of how it all should be. So the two laws that just jump out of this document to me are astonishing. Based on what we know, Srila Prabhupada has said more than once that a bona fide guru never falls down. So the two key words in that statement from our spiritual master is bona fide and never. Yet in this GBC law book, it reads, if your guru falls down, comma, the disciple should seek shelter of Srila Prabhupada and the nearest GBC. So this is how utterly fallible and ridiculous their laws are. And there's numerous, it's 118 pages. And the last thing I want to point out that's so telling about their motivation is tinged by profit, adoration, and distinction. If you ever do stomach, scroll to the last 2 pages, three or four pages, and it lists all these letters written by Prabhupada, but conspicuous by its absence is the July 9th letter. It goes from the July 7th letter, and then it skips to the November 2nd letter. And we know His Divine Grace left His manifested presence in November. So they don't even list the most important letter on the subject of how initiations will be carried on henceforth. They omit the July 9th letter. Now, I'm not going to make this into that kind of a come together meeting, but it's just further evidence. We were talking about shoe prints and does the shoe match? Well, here's one of those.
We're having a little bit of internet connection. A little bit of an internet failure there.
This is what's called in law direct evidence exist. Sorry.
Okay. We're
Lost
losing your connection, so we'll keep going. Dharma Bhavana Prabhu in Dallas, Texas.
Sorry, I lost connection.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll
Hare
let Dharma
Krishna.
Bhava, but thank you. I'm sorry you lost.
Wonderful
It was
class.
very interesting. Yes, please,
I
Prabhu.
really like the Caitanya-caritāmṛta class. My wife is here. She wanted to ask some questions. She was commenting on today's class. It was so elevated for all newcomers, they won't be able to understand it. And I told her, well, in Krishna book, the same type of highly spiritual topics are presented in such a way that the new people can at least get some kind of small grasp of the spiritual sky. So I try to tell our local people here, it's very, very hard to be in Prabhupada's mission. And the example I give is if you want to go to a university, you have to do everything just right. You have to, for example, choose a school, be accepted and register, choose a class schedule. Then you have to attend classes. Then after all this, you have to do your homework, choose a major. And after some years, you receive your degree. If you don't do any of these things correctly, then the whole thing, it doesn't really work. And so in the same way in Prabhupada's mission, I wanted my wife to ask these questions. She wanted to ask, but she said her English is not 100%.
No.
Here she is right here, but she doesn't want to answer the question. And I said, well, more ladies have to be involved. So she said she wanted me to ask the question. So the question is about our different local people, we want them to become fully immersed in Prabhupada's mercy, to know what his mission is like, and to be able to follow everything necessary. And for those who are weak and cannot follow every single rules and regulation perfectly, not to be discouraged, but to continue. And sometimes some of the local members may take photos of different places which are really against Prabhupada's mission, don't respect his original books, don't respect his deity worship, have offenses against the Vaishnava devotees, and they present these in such a way so that some new person may think this is all the same thing. So I just wanted to kind of mention all those things. Sorry I made it so complicated, but I'm asking on behalf of my wife.
But that's not the question you asked.
Okay, thank you.
Well, the point is that
Prabhu,
yes,
Prabhu, I have a question. If the ISKCON is bending the devotees and we trying to preach them about Prabhupada, and they're going, we bringing new people there. They presenting the temple which banned the devotees. They're telling you are Ridvik. Even they banned me because they're so scared of me that I'm going to influence people in the temple Ridvik. But these people are new people. They don't understand anything. I had a program. 75 people came in my house. And the temple went and banned me. I cannot even do kirtan in my own home. And this group people goes and take the picture of the temple promoting in the group. So how is this people following Prabhupada's rule?
well, first problem that you have is that you're preaching to a group of people that are on a different mission, and they have a different reason for why they're practicing Krishna consciousness. And when you see that reaction, you realize that this is not going to work with them because they will react to you. So this
They
is
still keep on telling us we are Prabhupada Nugas. And you need to come and preach to these people. I need to read the book to these ladies. They have 24 hours a day. They can take half an hour. We gave them all original Bhagavatams to their house. They should read if they want to be Prabhupada Nugas.
well, the one thing is we want to clarify the one thing we are, like a lot of people say to me, oh, you're a Rikvik, whatever the hell the name is. Or they used to call me, oh, you're a Prabhupada. I'm not. And neither are you, your husband and you. We're Prabhupada disciples. And we're focused on presenting Prabhupada in his Vani incarnation for everyone to take advantage of the transcendental literatures and teachings that he gave us all so we can go back to Godhead. And that's what we were talking about today. These people that are criticizing you, these people that are blaspheming you, for one, because you're presenting the truth to these heretics, you could sue them.
Yeah, I want to sue them. They sent me letter bending me. I didn't even do anything. I want to go there, Rath Yatra, and put up flyers there.
That's not right.
You cannot stop anybody from the.
This is not right. It's against all rules of good behavior and truthfulness. And when we finally stand up and deal with it and show them, you're not going to get away with this. Look in the past how bad it was, Mataji. When I had to deal with Kirtananda and they were threatening to kill me.
I know.
Tirtha came to Toronto with all of these thugs with the dog and everything else. It was complete bloody madness. He was sleeping with boys in the Prabhupada's rooms. And if you said anything, they would want to kill you. And they did kill Sulochan. And Krishna Kata was in the court case and gave the testimony that convicted this person to go to jail for the rest of his life. So
I gave my life 44 years in there. I didn't do anything.
We can't accept this. Yeah, we can't accept this. Yashoda, please, if you'd like to comment.
You know, Mataji, one of the best ways to deal with this
Yes.
is just like one of the best ways to catch a criminal. I mean, investigators notice you try to get them to incriminate themselves, because investigators and detectives have a lot of different tools to find out where a person was. They can check computer records, they can check phone records. So if they catch a person lying once, twice, 3 times, they know there's a major problem down the road. So we know that with these people, with all of their mythology, what I call their guru system is basically thin air and mythology. The best defense is to distribute them some kind of literatures to enlighten them. Like we have on our website, Our Living Guru, and the little booklet, Prabhupada Siddhanta. Make some copies, put them in an envelope, and start giving them to people. Wake them up. Put your card in there with your contact information. And rather than engage in a confrontation with these people, so thank you very much. Here's something for you. Here's a present. And distribute 50, 60, 100 of these little packets to people. I know that myself and some of the devotees did that several years ago in Los Angeles at the Ratha Yatra. And when people realized what was in that little bit, Our Living Guru, they were shocked, because it's just all quotes from Prabhupada. It's not our personal opinion. It's not our personal ideas. So that's what I respectfully suggest that you and a husband can do. And Krishna will definitely help you.
You got other people that can comment. Maybe you'd like to further comment, Krishna Kata, now that your connection's back.
Well, Yashodananda is absolutely right. And the only thing I would add, for your own protection these days, I got out of the police department before cell phone era and body cameras. But now you can't trust. These people are so attached to their position that, I'm going to be straight up with you, Mataji, they're going to be violent. So put your video recorder on them if they start to get in your face again. You want to capture this on video. This will help your case if it goes to court, because it will show that they're being antagonistic, harassing, they're being intimidating, they're being threatening. I don't want you to become the bait. But if, while you're distributing these nice Prabhupada quotes that Yashoda's suggesting, and you get some kind of pushback, always record. I record everything, because you just don't know how far it's going to go. So that's my 2-cent suggestion on that, because confrontation ends up being his word against her word, and it goes nowhere in court. But if you have video, you win. And always take the position of, a Vaishnava, which is calm and peace, and you're pleasing Srila Prabhupada. I was talking to Vishwakarma today, and I said, we should proceed as if Prabhupada is standing right next to us, because he's in our heart as Super Soul. So everything we do and we say should be as if he's literally listening. That's how you can conquer this nescience, this nonsense, by bringing Prabhupada with you everywhere you go. And video recording, I strongly suggest.
Yeah, it's good. It's as the truth is being exposed to the innocent, there are going to be people, like you said, Krishna Kata, that will react. And hopefully it won't be in a violent way. We don't know, but we hope so. But this is not right. This is against, especially in America, you have freedom of speech, freedom of religion. And when you present heresy and they kick you out because of it, they're guilty, Dharma Bhavana. They're the ones that are persecuting you, and they're the ones that are offending Srila Prabhupada. Now, I'd like to get, before we bring on Nilesh, I see he's joined us at the end of the program. Tim Lee, are you still with us? Maybe you could share your points of view with us.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. I have a quick question also, is that in relation to what Mataji was talking about. is that what is the position of this particular association on the book called The Final Order, which is done by Krishnakant and the IRMs? And so far, I was utilizing those books to educate people, to tell them what this whole thing is all about. I never knew about this little booklet of yours, which is there. And if we want to order these booklets, how can we go about it?
Okay, well, Yashoda can give you the information on that. As far as, there's a campaign by lots of people to expose Prabhupada's teachings to the innocent people that are coming. So all of these efforts are bringing about awareness, Nilesh Sharma, in the fraudulent behavior of the current GBC and their elected or appointed gurus. So we're planning to write some articles. We're planning to do more shows. There's a lot more work that has to be done, and that is on our agenda, and we'll keep moving forward with it. Yashoda Prabhu, please, if you'd like to comment.
As far as our position with regards to other groups or other Vaishnava groups that are trying to promote Prabhupada as the guru of ISKCON, as Diksha guru of ISKCON, we encourage all of them. I mean, we don't have much connection with these groups, except we sympathize with their conclusion. There's not much of a united cooperative effort for these groups to cooperate with one another, but that's fine. The point is, as long as they're emphasizing Prabhupada, that is the main point. That is the main important point. As far as this little booklet, I'll send you a copy on the internet. That booklet, I believe, is also available on our website at harekrishnasociety.org. So anybody can see there and basically pull it out, make some copies, and go forward with that. Especially the little booklet, Our Living Guru. Here's Puranjan. I believe he's there. Maybe he can make some comments.
Yeah.
Hi,
Puranjan.
Bill. Hi, Bill.
Prabhupada.
Jai. First, Prabhupada. Yeah, I just made a video about my relationship to the child molesting lawsuit,
Oh,
which was started in 1997. And if people want to know my relationship with the IRM, I describe a lot of that in that video. Because what happened was Krishnakant was in LA when I was in LA, and I was starting the child molesting lawsuit. I was advertising it in my newsletter, and simultaneously I was bringing out the book changes, and I was helping Gupta, and we even had Crazy Hansaduta and Hare Narayan. We had a steering committee to address the changed books. And so that lawsuit was started in LA, and I was in LA working with that group. And Krishnakant definitely did not want me to do the BBTI lawsuit. He said I was antagonizing the GBC, and he was going to make a deal with Jai Pataka to get the original books. So he said, do not work with, with the lawyers and sue the GBC over the child molesting or the changed books. Simultaneously, I was bringing out the poison issue. So it's kind of like a triple whammy. I was going after the molesting, the book changes, and the poison issue all simultaneously. And he objected to all of that. He said, don't do that. And then he came to me one day and he said, I have made a deal with Jai Pataka regarding you. We, meaning Krishnakant and Jai Pataka, are going to send you on a vacation to the Caribbean. Wait a minute. So I'm going to go on a vacation to the Caribbean, and I'm going to stop all my lawsuits and my newsletter and everything else. I'm going to stop everything. And Kant says, I have made you a bargaining chip. So, whoops. So
This is what
he
criminals
made,
bribe. This is a bribery. This is what criminals do.
yeah. So, yeah, but okay, wait a minute. I'm going to go to the Caribbean, and then I'm going to be in Davy Jones' locker. I'm not going to come back alive from the Caribbean. I mean, are you kidding me? And that's what everybody said. They says, you're going to be shark bait. Yeah, the Caribbean is a bad place. There's lots of voodoo there. You can hire some guy with a machete and take somebody out, and nobody knows me there. The police aren't going to be watching out for it. Was just a scam. But it was a setup, I believe, and my friends at the time all believed it was going to make me, depart the planet. That was the plan.
Okay.
So I had this run-in with Krishna. And then he openly said after that, I'm going to go to war with you. I'm going to go to war with Pod. And he did. He went to the Philippines and he made a big announcement. And then he started making complaints about me on his website. So he didn't really want to cooperate with me. He wanted to cooperate with Jayapataka, and he wanted me to cooperate with Taka. Now, at the time, this put me in a very difficult situation. I'm suing Jayapataka for $400 million, and I got to cooperate with Jayapataka. How's that going to work? That is just never going to work. I'm having this guy sued. But it's also interesting. I used to hand out papers around the LA temple. I was recruiting victims. I was giving them papers to sign up for the court case. And all the leaders were standing on the sidewalk on Watsika, glaring at me, who's this guy? I had this little bicycle. I had this girl's bicycle, that I bought for like $10 off of the Facebook Marketplace or something. And so I was riding around, and all the leaders were out there, Badri Narayan and Hridayananda and Amarendra, Tejas, all of their group was out there every day talking to their lawyers. What are they going to do about this lawsuit? And so I would ride by and they would just clam up. They wouldn't say a word when I went because everything you say can and will be used in a court of law. So don't talk to this guy. But so it was a very difficult situation I was already in, and Krishna Kant certainly didn't help me out by saying
Okay.
I should just drop everything.
Yeah.
But we went ahead. We went ahead with the BBT lawsuit. We won that lawsuit. We went ahead with the child molesting lawsuit. We won that. And we went ahead with the poison issue. And everybody, even a lot of Ritviks, thought that was insane. What are you talking about? But later on, more and more people began to say, oh, wait a minute. This is not false. This is, But anyway, if we're all going to work under one umbrella, okay, but we have to have one flag, and one flag that we have
Okay,
to
let me
operate
say
under.
something. We
Okay.
have one flag, period. It should be very clear to you and everyone else what we're doing. We're a Prabhupada. There's some guy bringing up a question here about Ritvik. A lot of people accuse us of being Ritviks. Are you a Ritvik, Paranjana? Are you a Ritvik?
We never even used the term Ritvik
That's
until
right.
84, or so. No one even knew what it was,
That's right.
So
We are
all that information.
Prabhupada disciples. I was
Haribol,
initiated.
Prabhu, I gotta go. I gotta go now, but Jai, Glory to Prabhupada, Haribol.
Just to answer this, Prabhu, on the question on the chat. We are Prabhupada disciples, Prabhu. We're not Ritviks. We're not trying to be part of a Ritvik group. We use a Ritvik system with our Brahminical council that if someone is really interested in becoming a Prabhupada disciple, we have a system for initiation. But we are not Ritviks. Yashodanandana Prabhu is a Prabhupada disciple initiated by his divine grace. Same with many of us on this call. We were all personally initiated by Srila Prabhupada. We never identified, nor are we Prabhupada-anugas. That's another term that people have made up. Are we unified? Yes, we are. We have a large group of people that are working together. Do we have all the assets of ISKCON? I bought the biggest temple in North America. It's been stolen by other people, and they're misusing it for their own personal purposes, along with all the other assets. What do you want us to do? Just because they march around in pink robes, are they pure devotees? That's something you have to find out about, Mr. Samson. But as far as it goes, if you have any questions, if you want to get in touch with us, we'll be happy, not on this Zoom meeting, but we'll be happy to discuss what we're doing, all of the plans. If you want to participate with us, we are marching forward. We have 17,000 people on our Facebook group page, and it's expanding. We have 300 classes on YouTube with thousands of viewers. We have newsletters. We are going to be publishing original books. We are putting on events. We're moving forward step by step. And we welcome people to come and participate with us. But we are not Ritviks. So let's leave it at that. Yashoda?
Prabhuji, I have a question.
Go ahead.
You said just now is that
Yeah.
you are personally initiated by Prabhupada.
Yeah.
Now that statement can be utilized by ISKCON. What do you mean by personal?
He spoke the
That means
Gayatri
you are
Mantra
propagating
in my
in one
ear.
way. No, you are propagating in one way that the physical presence of Prabhupada is where is importance. What about those who are initiated by him through the Ritvik process?
Well, that's the same thing. It's just some people are blessed and some are not blessed in the same way. Just like I ate Prabhupada's prasadam. I had Prabhupada's feet on my head. So what are you going to say? Oh, well, you shouldn't mention that. That doesn't make sense either. That's trying to deny the reality of a situation. That's the fact. And people should respect that too, by the way. Not just look at us and say, who do you think you are? I know who we are. And you know, as well as all of us, that we're trying to do something to help other people become Prabhupada disciples. But there is a difference between someone that was personally with Prabhupada and somebody that was never trained by Prabhupada. That's obvious. And people should be thankful that we're doing this voluntarily to help others take up this process and carry on with this movement. Otherwise, there's just going to be Radhanath disciples, and we don't care what they say. We do not care. We don't ask for money. We don't ask for position. We don't ask for a seat. We're not interested. But we see what they do, and that is not what we do. Go ahead, Nilesh. Please.
No, I think, Yashodananda Prabhu, I would love to hear from him what he has to say about this.
Okay, sure. We'll wind it up after that. Thank you, everyone.
There's definitely a point here that those who have been directly or personally initiated by his divine grace, for lack of a better term, or either direct disciples, it does not invalidate anybody else who, after the departure of Srila Prabhupada on November 14th, they can also become disciples of Srila Prabhupada. I'm speaking of initiated disciple, and that's the system that Prabhupada established on July 9th, 1977, with a system of officiating representative. The reason that system was never implemented in ISKCON is due to the personal ambition of a select few people who wanted to occupy Prabhupada's position, Prabhupada's seat. That's why when we first met these people at Janmashtami in 1978 and asked them the question, in the last few months of Prabhupada's manifested presence, where is the evidence for any of the things that are being done here? Vyasasanas, Vyasa pujas, pictures on the altar, pranam mantras, all these new introductions that Srila Prabhupada never made. The only record was to continue as he had established. Prabhupada even said there's no need for any change. So the point is that it's not much of a distinction, although technically there is a distinction, just like I keep mentioning different stories and experiences I had with Prabhupada. Okay, we had the good fortune and special mercy from Prabhupada. That's fine, but it's not that somebody is a lesser devotee or is not quite as fortunate as other devotees. No, it's not like that. Just like in the Caitanya-caritāmṛta, there's a caution by Krishna Das Kaviraj that one should not think there is a high devotee and a low devotee of Lord Chaitanya. No, we don't think like that. That is not how we're supposed to think. But this elitism in ISKCON started at the top. People who taught, oh, we're the best devotees, we're the best man. Prabhupada said this. Well, Prabhupada said a lot of things. We can't just minimize what Prabhupada says and take things out of context. Just like today, I saw a discussion on Facebook. Somebody said, oh, Prabhupada supported a husband beating their wife. I said, this is complete nonsense. I said, in the Bhagavatam, there's a place where Prabhupada explains that women should never be beaten, never be physically beaten. It's right there in the fourth canto. But people will take a cherry picking, take something out of context and trying to blame Prabhupada. And that's what happened in 1978. They cherry-picked what they wanted to hear that satisfied their personal ambition, and that's why there's that problem. But there's no, for those who are serious about following Prabhupada, there's no difficulty. There's no problem. The problem comes in when this prophet adoration and distinction comes in. That causes problem. That causes major problems. So I hope it helps. Hare Krishna.
Nilesh, anything else there? Nilesh, Shama.
No, Prabhuji, this is good enough. Because remember is that
Yeah, please.
when you are in ISKCON circles, especially when I was in ISKCON Bombay, I
Yes.
remember in my last visit where I was with one of the vice presidents who's very sympathetic with the Ritvik part.
System.
The system, yes. And I mean, he's very, very, what you call, aligned with it.
What's
And
his
he
name?
not only, I would prefer not to name him because he prefers to be that way. So a very nice person. And we were in queue for Prashadam in Prabhupada Towers, outside
Yes.
Prabhupada's, what you call, quarters, where
Yes.
on every Wednesday they have a class by Prabhupada and they print out Prabhupada's lecture so that you can hear him and read at the same time. And that is what interested me. And so I attended that. And so being a senior devotee over there, we could circumvent certain lines. And then I heard the other people saying, why is they jumping? It's because, oh, they are Prabhupada disciples. So this kind of stuck me so hard in my head, is that why are there distinctions? You know, see how they're indoctrinated that, oh, if you're a direct Prabhupada disciple, you get special treatment. And this is how they have been systematically propagating this whole psyche, you see? And that is what got to me. I said, this is wrong. You know, this is wrong. Yes, you have a special privilege because you had personally associated
Yeah.
with the Vapu of a pure devotee. But we are not the ones who are propagating Vapu. We are propagating Vani.
Yes.
The fortune is there of Vapu, but the best fortune is the Vani. So if you associate on a Vani platform with Prabhupada, Prabhupada loves it even more than Vapu, because that is why he gives us the example of the bed bug. You know, the bed bug is right next to it. One person is just sucking the blood while the other person is listening to their instructions, and Prabhupada rather prefers us to listen to his instructions. So these are the thoughts which kind of came across my mind, and that is why this discussion, but very enlightening discussion, and I'm glad that we're having this discussion so people can relate this if they ever visit an ISKCON temple, and correlate the two and see the difference in how the people are treated.
Yes, and I think the point we're making is we're not trying to say we're better. Nobody here thinks they're better. In fact, most of us will celebrate a new person becoming a Prabhupada disciple if they come forward as a great victory for everyone. It's because it's a great victory for this mission to carry on with Prabhupada disciples. So the new people are really very important. And at the same time, like you said, and I was explaining, we're blessed. If you're blessed, like someone was criticizing, well, you repeat the same pastimes that you had with Prabhupada all the time. Well, am I supposed to make up new ones? If we have some pastimes, we're sharing them with everybody. We're giving people an experience. Like I see Shama Sundar is the Samosa King in Australia. We had a nice talk last week, and he asked me a question, Nilesh. He said, how come Sumati Maharajji picked you out of the group in Bombay when we were at the front of the temple when Prabhupada was there, and asked you to come and see her in her mansion at Juhu Beach? How come she picked you? Now, what am I supposed to say? Oh, she didn't pick me. It was just, I just made it up. No, she asked me to come. She was curious to see what kind of devotee I was. I was a brahmachari at the time. She investigated where I was at. She was testing to see how Prabhupada's disciples were and how they understood the philosophy. She asked me all kinds of questions. And I had her darshan for a half hour at her mansion. I was quite blessed. Same way I was asked to help someone cook prasadam for Prabhupada in Mayapur. Now, when I got to the kitchen, guess who was there? Prabhupada's sister, Pishima. And I had to help her cut vegetables and she prepared the prasadam for Prabhupada. Now, what am I supposed to say? Well, I wasn't there. Yes, some of us were blessed by that luck. I'm going to say it was a luck in time because Prabhupada was only there. And I wish all of us were there. I really do. I wish everybody was with us. But we can still appreciate Prabhupada's presence very much so in his Vani incarnation. And that is what we're stressing. That is the books that are unadulterated we're trying to publish and print and distribute. And it is Prabhupada's instructions to be studied carefully by all of us. Study the books very carefully and understand them. And if you have questions, you can ask us because we're still alive for a few more years. So we'll be glad.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. What I really like to say is that
yes,
probably there's a blessing for me that I was not personally associated with Prabhupada because maybe I don't have the fortitude, or I would not have had the fortitude to go through the turmoil which ISKCON went through post 1977 to now. And what I credit people like you who have been with Prabhupada, who have stuck with the institution in spite of all these problems, because there were some people who just went away on their own and now they're trickling back. But some of you have stuck to their guns, stuck to the whole situation where it is, and fought for Prabhupada, fought to bring him back in the realm. And that is what my adoration goes towards you, is that those who have joined pre-1977, went through the turmoil, did not succumb to any of this nonsense, and continued their fight for Prabhupada. This is what is real adoration. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Well, I wanted to clarify. I know Yashoda's been very staunch. Over the years, I struggled on, in Grihasta ashram and this and that, but you can eventually, everyone here in this group has gone through life's experience, but we're fixed now on the program of our rounds, of our readings, of our association with each other, and our plans to try to carry on and do something productive with our money and our time as we move forward towards our ultimate departure. Take maximum use of who you are and where you are, and thank Krishna that this is here. Sure, we could quit. We could just stop. Forget it. It's over. Would that be a good service to Prabhupada? Is that what he wants us to do? Give up? Because people criticize, they fault find? It's hard to stomach it. We're not pure devotees, but we're trying to serve Prabhupada purely by our sincere efforts as a group to revitalize the legacy that's been destroyed by that movement that took it over for nefarious purposes. Jonas Priya in Hawaii, I see your hands up. Go ahead, please.
Hare Krishna, glories to Srila Prabhupada. Yeah, I just wanted to mention that actually during Prabhupada's physical presence, many devotees never met Srila Prabhupada. They got initiated through mail by a letter, and then the temple president did the ceremony. So absolutely what we're doing is not different from that. We're not inventing anything, we're just following Prabhupada's instructions. So whether we were with Prabhupada or not, that's not, Prabhupada didn't never put emphasis on that. Is that my disciple is one who follow my orders. So that's the bottom line. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. We're going to end the topic. Thank you very much. Yashoda, if you could give the Vanchakalpa prayers, we'll end today's program.
Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Thanks everybody for participating. We'll see you all on Saturday morning at 7 a.m. Pacific time, corresponding to 10 a.m. Toronto in the Eastern United States time. Hare Krishna. Chant and be happy. Hare Krishna.